Well, I had been told by some of the greatest directors that I really respect that if I ever decided to direct something, let my debut be a subject matter that one, I loved, and two, that I knew very well. Because your first time directing is often a huge challenge. There's so many things you have to learn that you've never done before. So at least understand the story and love the story. And I love the fight game. I've always loved boxing. I'm a huge fan of MMA, so I love that part of it. I love the genre. The fight game genre is always winning, from the first Rocky I saw to The Wrestler to Million Dollar Baby. I love those stories. And this world of these broken, fractured characters is also what I know very well. And I feel like, most of us as human beings, as we grow up, we're sort of dealing with our fractured bits from our childhood. As far as I know, everybody, nobody escapes childhood without some fracturedness or some wounds or some brokenness. Nobody's childhood is perfect. And so this movie deals with, from a female point of view, those things that we often struggle with, the harsh realities of the inner city community and growing up there. And I feel like, as a Black woman point of view, this was a story very worth telling.
But what's different about your story and the others that you mentioned, Rocky, The Wrestler, Million Dollar Baby, that this is a story seen from the point of view of a Black woman? And how important was that for you to be telling that story? Because usually women of colour don't usually tell those stories.
It's really important, that we have to start telling our own stories, because for so long our stories have been told through the eyes of men, and mostly white men. So it's really important now that, we take our voice back. We write our stories, direct our stories, produce them. We really put our voice in there, and we get to tell these stories from our point of view. And even for those that don't understand it, that's the reason to do it. Another perspective, another point of view, and it happens to be ours. And I think it's really valuable.
So was it empowering, would you say, being the boss, you were the director?
It was. It was very empowering. Just to get the story out of my body felt empowered. I had many times throughout this process, and I felt, if I don't get to tell this story, I'm going to die. There was a reason that this had to come out of me. There was a reason I had to tell this story. And that feels empowering, that I actually did it. In these times, it's hard to get movies made anymore.
No, definitely. On your Instagram, when you're talking about the premiere, you said, when everything you've worked hard for, all your blood, sweat and tears finally gets realised, this is that moment. What were you talking about there? Were you maybe talking about the 6 hours a day of training you reportedly put into this? As you said, getting it made, COVID impacting things?
Yes, all of it. Everything you just said, the training, the broken ribs, the injuries, the raising the money, losing the money, getting the money, putting my own money in to keep going, trying to bring this film across the finish line, it was not a big budget movie, so it's, very much an indie. And there's a certain amount of stress and strife that goes along with creating an indie movie. You don't have a studio there to help you, protect you, sort of give you the things that you really need. I had to figure out a way to make those things happen for myself. So it was a long, arduous journey at times.
So what was it like then, finally, in the cinema with the audience, just watching it?
Well, the truth is, that was the first time I'd seen it with an audience because of COVID. And it was the first time I'd seen it on a big screen. I did a lot of my editing on a computer screen because of COVID. So I thought I was going to go to that screening and revel in the fact that I finally get to see it with an audience and feel how they feel it. And, but I literally was stuck staring at the screen because I had never seen it that big before. And I thought, wow, that's what it looks like. It was crazy.
Lots of conversations about safety on set after the sad and tragic death of Helena Hutchinson. Are you worried about safety on set and the issues that might concern you, particularly when it's your film?
Always. And I think we all should be. And I think it's tragedy what happened. That should never happen at work. It's a tragedy.
And you were talking about the directors you've spoken to who've given you advice. What other advice did people give you? You were in Jungle Fever, directed by the great Spike Lee. Did you ever think then that you would be directing your own film?
I was just so happy to be in my first film as an actor. That's when I met Spike Lee. So no, if you're asking if I thought then I'd be here now, no way for me to know what would happen 30 years later. So no, but Spike was one of the first people I showed my film to when I finished. I so respect him and his opinion, and he gave me the thumbs up. He told me, I didn't know you were a filmmaker. Now I do. So to me, when Spike tells you that, you're good.
Halle, honestly, it is a brilliant film. As I said, so real, so hard-hitting. People need to go out there and watch what life is really like for people living it hard. So good talking to you, Halle Berry. Such a pleasure.
Thank you very much. You too.